What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Alex. Welcome to Alex Sports Talk and Bets. And we got to talk about the big trade that just went down between the Boston Celtics and the Philadelphia 76ers. And if you're thinking to yourself, why would Boston make a trade with the 76ers when the 76ers just eliminated them? I don't know, but they did. With that being said, the Boston Celtics traded Jaylen Brown to the Philadelphia 76ers. In exchange, they received Paul George, a 2031 unprotected first-round pick, a 2028 first-round pick that becomes a swap, and 2 second-round picks. All right, so my quick and early thoughts on this, and it's not going to be a very long video because I have other trades and signings and stuff like that to analyze as well. I don't think it moves the needle for either team. If you want my honest opinion, I think Boston comes out of this okay. I don't think it does anything for Philly, and I'm going to explain why. Jaylen Brown, listen, analytics saying he's like the 6th or 7th best player on the team. I don't know what he did that pissed Boston off. They clearly went on a smear campaign against Jaylen Brown because even though I'm not the biggest fan of Jaylen Brown, he's never the 6th or 7th best player on any team, especially Boston. In my opinion, he was always better than Jason Tatum. I've never really been a huge Jason Tatum fan. And considering the fact that when they finally did win the championship, he was the finals MVP, and Jason Tatum was hurt pretty much all of last year after losing to the Knicks the year before that, and Jaylen Brown kept them top 2 in the East. So, my opinion, Jaylen Brown, I'll say this. When they both first came in the league, Jason Tatum was better. In my opinion, for the last, I'd say 3 to 4 years, Jaylen Brown has been better. Jason Tatum's game has not aged well at all. He seems like he lacks explosiveness he used to have, speed he used to have. And personally, between the two, I would have kept Jaylen Brown, all right? If you got to have someone tell you you're big deuce, right? If you got to text the passed away Kobe Bryant to try to get yourself revved up to win a championship, I don't really want you to be my star player. I would have kept Jaylen Brown. Now, I know some of you are thinking, well, Alex, you just said that you think the trade works out better for the Celtics than it does the Sixers, but you're explaining to me all the reasons you think Jason Tatum is better than Jaylen Brown. So wasn't this a mistake? No, it wasn't, and I'll explain why. As great of a player as I do think Jaylen Brown is, he's a great scorer. He plays good defense. The problem with Jaylen Brown is this. He plays good defense, not elite defense. He's not locking anybody down. Now, Paul George has passed the years where he's going to lock anyone down either, but I think their defense is the same. Jaylen Brown can't shoot, not consistently. Jaylen Brown's over or under three-pointers is generally speaking, probably like 1.5. That means you aren't shooting very many threes. It also means you aren't making very many threes. Paul George, in the latter stages of his career, did the number one thing that you can do to extend your basketball shelf life, which is become a good three-point shooter. He shot the three very well all season last year for the Sixers. That's all the Celtics really need him to do. The Celtics' entire offense, Joe Mazzulla is the most overrated coach in the Eastern Conference, or at least one of them, because their entire offense just revolves around keep shooting threes, hope you get hot, and if we get hot, we can beat anybody. But if we don't, we can't beat anybody. Paul George fits into that picture. So to me, the Celtics don't lose much. Right? Paul George can still defend just as good as Jaylen Brown is. He's big, he's strong, around the same size, and he's a better shooter. So he just fits that team better. Now, even though Philly's getting the better player, I don't think Jaylen Brown is what they need right now. First of all, who else can shoot in Philly's starting lineup besides Tyrese Maxey? Joel Embiid is your second best shooter. That should not be happening. That should not be happening, all right? Joel Embiid is supposed to be the dude who he's going to hit a three if you leave him wide ass open. He shouldn't be your second best shooter. VJ Edgecombe's three is inconsistent as all hell. Jaylen Brown's three ball is inconsistent as all hell. And Kelly Oubre just don't even get the ball. I'm pretty sure he's still on the Sixers. Who knows, maybe they'll move him. But he doesn't even get the ball, so it doesn't even matter. So that's problem number one. He doesn't do anything for the Sixers' spacing problem. That's a big problem the Sixers had. 2, he's not a big, right? He could play the 4 if he has to, but he's not big. Why does that matter? Well, we all know Joel Embiid cannot stay healthy to save his life. So when he gets hurt, Jaylen Brown can't step in for Joel Embiid. So Jaylen Brown doesn't replace what you lose when Joel Embiid inevitably gets hurt at some point this year, because he will. He always does. And he also doesn't help you with your spacing because he can't shoot. consistently. Let me say that. He can get hot, but he cannot shoot consistently, and that's not really his game. He wants to attack the basket. The problem is Joel Embiid wants to attack the basket. VJ Escone wants to attack the basket. And really, Tyrese Maxey does too. He can shoot the three, but he still wants to attack the basket to get the three to be easier. So at the end of the day, to me, this kind of turns Tyrese Maxey into a spot-up shooter, basically, because he's the only one who could consistently hit a shot. And that's why I think the trade works out better for Boston, because does Paul George make them better? No. But do I think Boston's any worse than they were before this trade? No, I don't. I think they're the same team, plus Mitchell Robinson, who I think Mitchell Robinson will help them. I hate to see him leave the Knicks, but I think he'll help them. I don't think he moves the needle or anything, but I think they're going to be just as good as they have been. They'll be just as good as they have been. They're not winning another championship. Unless you bring Porzingis and Drew Holiday back and Jaylen Brown, it ain't happening. So that's out the window, but they'll be good. They'll be in the top 4 teams in the East. They'll be in the playoffs. The Sixers, to me, I don't see how they did it. I think they're going to be in the same spot. I think next year, Joel Embiid will get hurt. They'll make the playoffs. They're not going to be a top 4 seed, in my opinion. Well, maybe, because Detroit's completely falling apart. So maybe they will, but I don't know about that. I think in the best case scenario for the Sixers, best case scenario, they are exactly the 4 seed. More likely, in my opinion, they're probably a 6 seed. 6 or a 5. And 6 is not where you want to be. Really, 5 ain't really where you want to be either, because that means you're going to have to play the Celtics, or you're going to have to play the Knicks, or you're going to have to play the Cavs in the first round. I don't think the Sixers can beat any of them. They might can beat the Cavs, assuming Joel Embiid is healthy. But I just don't think it moves the needle for the Sixers. Like, for example, if the Knicks had to play the Sixers again, I would pick the Knicks again. I think maybe with Jaylen Brown, maybe they get a game. That's it. If the Sixers had to play the Cavs, maybe they beat the Cavs. I don't know if I would say that for sure. All depends on Joel Embiid. Maybe they'll beat the Cavs, But I don't think it moves their needle very much, Like they were like a tie with the Sixers before. I don't know if they even beat the Sixers again, because I really do think Paul George just fits with the Celtics do better. So I'm not sure the Sixers even beat the Celtics again with Jaylen Brown. I just don't see it as like a big needle moving move. I don't think it does very much for the Sixers. I think it keeps Boston where they're at, and it gets rid of the headache that's Jaylen Brown. Jaylen Brown, at the end of the day, there was clearly some animosity brewing. Jaylen Brown felt like he was better than Jason Tatum, which I agree. The Boston Celtics did not. So, it's just, when I look at the trade, I just think it's a lateral move, really, in my opinion, for both teams. But the Sixers may possibly get worse. So I would say that the Celtics won this trade. But that's the only reason. That's the only reason. I just think Paul George fits what they do better. I don't think they really lost anything making this trade. I don't think the Sixers really gained anything making this trade. So for that reason, I think it benefits Boston more, because I guess it helps the Sixers out with getting draft picks from when they inevitably have to replace Joel Embiid, because he's about done. So, y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. They calling this a blockbuster trade. I guess it is, because it involves Jaylen Brown. But, Boston clearly wanted him gone for whatever reason. So, he's on the Sixers now. I think there would have been better spots for him to land. I think he should have leveraged Atlanta. I think he probably would have did better there. But he's in Philly. We'll see what happens. I don't think either one of these teams really, because with the Cavs are more talented than Boston and the Sixers by a pretty good amount. But the problem is they're mentally weak. So I just don't know if that's going to come through, and they're also chokes. So I just don't know if that's going to come through. But if I'm going from a talent perspective, I thought the best 2 teams in the East was the Knicks and the Cavs. I still think that. I think the Celtics and the Sixers, I think the Celtics are the 3rd best team. The Sixers can fight for being the 4th best team with Detroit and Orlando if Orlando could stay healthy. But, I don't think it shakes up the East that much. I don't think it shakes up the East. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comments. I am Alex, and I am out. Peace.